We're talking about repealing Obamacare again? But didn't the GOP fail at doing that? Yes, big time. However, the Republicans have also run for the last 7 years on the promise of repealing Obamacare, so just giving up while they control Congress and the White House could be very dangerous for GOP lawmakers. At the same time, Obamacare is rather popular, and an outright repeal could upend the insurance system. So they've settled on a proposal known as Graham-Cassidy, which is named Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina and Senator Bill Cassidy of Louisiana, the guys who wrote the bill. And Graham-Cassidy repeals Obamacare. Well, yes and no, hence the sort of at the top. In broad strokes, what Graham-Cassidy does is take most of that Obamacare money and give it to states in the form of block grants. In theory, this would allow states to set up their own individual health insurance plans with federal money. Alabama would do its thing, Vermont might try to set up a single-payer system again, and so forth. So all that Obamacare money just goes somewhere else? Well, imagine that Obamacare money exists in 2 different baskets. The first basket includes all the federal subsidy money for people who need help paying their insurance bills. The second basket is money for Obamacare's Medicaid expansion, which 31 states have opted into. Now combine those baskets into one big basket, take away a lot of the money in the basket, and give the rest to the 50 states to use as they wish. Throw in limits on federal Medicaid spending, plus a complex formula to determine how much money each state gets, and you basically have Graham-Cassidy. Also, the money to states runs out in 2026. Proponents of the bill say the federal government would just step in and allocate more money, which might happen, or might not happen. 9 years is a long time. Who likes this proposal? Republican leaders, including President Trump, who would all really like another crack at repealing Obamacare, even if it keeps about $1.2 trillion in Obamacare spending and switches around how it's allocated. They seem kind of bullish about the bill's chances of passage, too, as more senators sign onto it. Many conservatives say they like the bill because it moves a lot of power over health care from the federal government and over to the states. They argue this will lead to better outcomes as state governments are closer to their constituents and therefore more responsive to their particular wants and needs, at least in theory. When will the Senate vote on Graham-Cassidy? Sometime next week, per McConnell's office. Who doesn't like this proposal? All the Democrats, naturally. Also Kentucky Republican Senator Rand Paul, who says the bill doesn't really repeal Obamacare, so he won't vote for it. A number of governors have come out against the bill as well, including Republicans like Ohio Governor John Kasich, who had been pushing a plan to keep Obamacare afloat without repealing it. So can it pass? We don't know yet. It would need 50 votes to pass under the reconciliation rules that expire on September 30, with Vice President Mike Pence casting the deciding vote. The most recent attempt to repeal and replace Obamacare ended when Republican Senators Susan Collins, John McCain, and Lisa Murkowski all voted nay. And as of Wednesday, all those senators were on the fence about Graham-Cassidy. There are plenty of other GOP senators who could vote no as well, such as Ohio's Rob Portman and West Virginia's Shelley Moore Capito. What could get them to make a decision? One death knell for previous Obamacare repeal attempts has been the Congressional Budget Office (CBO) scores for the earlier bills, which showed dramatic increases in the rates of uninsured Americans. A CBO score on Graham-Cassidy would probably have similar findings, but CBO doesn't have time to put a full one together. They say they'll have a preliminary report due sometime early next week. This will tell us more about the bill, but won't include things like projections for how the uninsured population will increase if it passes. One thing that could be a big help in passing the bill, a quirk in the Graham-Cassidy formula that gives eligible beneficiaries in Alaska and North Dakota a lot more money than states in other parts of the country. This provision was first noticed by National Review's Robert Verbruggen, and according to Business Insider's Josh Barro, it is almost certainly an attempt to make the bill more palatable to Lisa Murkowski. On the other hand, Alaska Governor Bill Walker, an independent, has come out against the bill, which could influence Murkowski's decision the other way. McCain is also under a lot of pressure to support the bill. Arizona's Republican Governor, Doug Ducey, supports the legislation. And McCain's closest ally and friend in the Senate is none other than Lindsey Graham. Plus, McCain has repeatedly objected to how prior attempts to repeal Obamacare have been done outside